Vivek sir, it's to you for your session.
Actually, I got this post a few days back from a friend of mine where he mentioned that if you have two sons or two children, amount of money that you spend on educating them, rearing them up, you invest 50% of that. That means the amount of money you're spending on one child, you assume you have three children, and you invest one third, one portion of that into equities. Right? By the time your children will be 25, settle down, ready to take off their career. You will not be dependent upon your children for your old age or your retirement. Your third child, which is your equity investments, will take care of you for life after that. So, how do you actually identify the scripts to identify them? To invest. I've been talking about this a million times earlier. Do a regular SIP on a monthly basis. Take a fixed company that you want to buy every month. Take a fixed number of shares you want to buy every month. Fixed company, fixed number of shares, irrespective of the price. Buy them on the first day, or the second day, or the third day, or any day of your choice. But buy them religiously.
Sir, I am doing that for crypto.
Yeah, that's all right. But you're doing it for crypto. And crypto is a currency which could collapse anytime.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? So instead of doing a crypto, are you using crypto on a daily basis? You are not. So you enter into a script, enter into a share which you are using on a daily basis, which will be there till you die, till you exit the world. A bank, a FMCG company, a capital goods company, a infrastructure company. These are the companies which will be there for long. And pick up the market leader or the number two game player in the sector. These are companies which will be there for long. They may be expensive, but they will be there for long. That is the way you build up your wealth. Small investments on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, but do that on a regular basis and you are building up a wealth for yourself.
Vivek sir, this is Aditya.
Yes, Aditya.
Yeah, so firstly, thank you for your valuable advice. And this is something which I've been following post what you said. But one
Yeah.
question that we have is, so when you say equity, do we diversify it? Say, for example, when you said, okay, the top two in, say, the banks, and pick one of them, and say top two in, say, infrastructure, pick one of them, or is it only bank or only
No, no, no. No, Aditya. You always diversify your portfolio.
Okay.
Look at the products and the kind of portfolio you're having. Now, don't go into items like a Tesla, which is very big in electric vehicles, but do you know what the future electric vehicles are going to be? Now, Elon Musk, if he can move his company by tweeting, do you want to trust that man further? I would rather trust a bank where the banks will be there because if the country has to grow, the banks have to be participating in that growth. I would rather trust a Levers or a Procter and Gamble because if you people require consumer products divisions, consumer products for your regular survival and sustenance, these companies will be around. So you please diversify them. Pick up
Okay.
one FMCG, one bank, pick up one pharma company, but an established name. Don't try and pick up a company which may not succeed. Because keep one thing in mind. I mean, I give this example to all my students in management. Like human beings, companies also die. Like human beings, companies also die. We just heard an example of Just Energy filing for bankruptcy. Now, I could quiz you on one company which was a global leader, and today that company does not even own one table space in this world, which was a global leader and does not today own even one table space in this world. And all this happened within 200 years, just 200 years, and the company is dead and gone. I can name the company if you want.
Yeah, which one is it, sir?
All right. Who were the rulers of India a few years back?
The British?
The British,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
The British first came into India. How did they come in? They came in through a company called East India Company.
East India Company. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Right? It was a company.
Yeah.
A company which owned an army. Today, where is East India? Have you heard of this company?
Oh, yeah. Recently, it was taken over some Indian or something. Is that the same one?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember. Yeah.
Yes. But the company is dead and gone. The Indian took
Okay.
only because he wanted to show that he is still there. But he ceased operations in 1874. In less than 275 years, he ceased the operations. They were handed over to the British monarchy, and that is the end of the company. The company is now dead and gone. I can name you many more companies which were flourishing in the 1900s, early 1900s, which are not there anywhere in the world now. Many such companies. So like human beings, companies also have life. So you take a company which you know which will survive you. A company like an FMCG, like a Lever, a Procter & Gamble, a pharmaceutical company like Glaxo, like Pfizer. These are big companies which will sustain themselves. A bank will sustain themselves. So you invest in these companies and then let your wealth grow. Now, if Kamal, can you open the chart of TD? I'll explain this to you on TD account because TD is another stock which I was dabbling on. If Kamal remembers this.
Yes, sir.
Kamal, you remember me buying TD?
Yes. And I also remember you asking about the big banks in Canada. And
Yes.
we had mentioned about CM, RY, Royal Bank, TD.
Yes. Now TD I had ended at 58. I had exited TD at 72. Where is it today?
Close to 82. Yeah.
Anything beyond is just I'm telling you that though I had exited at 72, I now realize I should have re-entered and taken it at 81. I would be in a very good profit. But I have a tendency of churning my portfolio after I made a certain percentage point profits. Now TD I was earning about 15% profit, I moved out. I'm happy with that profit margin. And profit margin I earned 15% was in how many days? In less than a month. I entered on 28th of October. I exited on 25th of November on a price of 71.51 or 72, whatever, check it out.
71.
71.51 is my exit price on 25th November. Entry at 58 on 28th October. I'm giving you the dates. 58. 28th October. The low is 57.77. 58 is my entry price. And November 25th at 71.51 I entered. I exited. 25th November. 71. 51, yes.
This one, 24.
Hold on. 24th November. So, and the same bank, look at the bank where I moved from. These are where investments will be done. Now, if you look at the same bank, take it a monthly chart. Take a monthly chart and go back to about 5 years earlier. I hope the bank is more than 5 years old. See, where were you? 09. At what was your price in 21? Where are you today? At 81. You have 4 times your value. You have multiplied it by 4 times. All the dips bought in, taken in, you are still 4 times your value. And dividend yield is another thing you are taking additional of 3.87. That is how you generate your wealth.
So Vivek sir, again I've got a question here. So
Sure.
basically when you diversify it, so do you buy the top 2 or only look at one of them in each field?
I look at the top 2 and pick up any one of them.
Any one of them? Okay.
Any one of them. Because the point is the number 1 will defend his position. Number 2 will keep attacking the number 1. And that is what you want. You want the number 1 to succeed further. If you win the number 2, if he is attacking, he is going to be aggressive, he is going to be innovative, he is going to be progressive. That is what we are looking at. So number 1 and number 2 position will always be good. I will not look at number 5, number 6. I'm looking at developing a portfolio, developing my wealth. Now, I could do this for any bank. Now, Kamal is showing it to you for all the banks possible.
Yeah, this one is Royal Bank.
Royal Bank of Canada, 30 to 116. 4 times. We have discussed this earlier also during our presentations. If Kamal can remember that.
Yeah, yeah.
How you build up a
Yes,
wealth.
yes,
This is how you build up wealth. And specifically when you're all a youngster, you're starting off your career now in a different country, recently ventured there, now is the time to do it up. Whatever you earn, you first decide how much you want to keep aside for investment, keep it aside. Then you decide how much you want to save. Keep that aside. Then the balance is for your luxury and for your sustenance. How we people normally do, we earn, we keep aside for our luxury and sustenance first, then the residue we keep for savings, and if something is left, that is our investments. It should be the reverse the clock, reverse the direction. Because if you have kept aside your investment and your savings, you will be then prodding yourself to earn more because you want to spend the money on your luxury and your sustenance. That should be the motivation for you to grow further. That's my 2 bits. And I think thank you very much on that.
Again, very useful, sir. Thanks again for this.
Most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I just wanted to know, is buying stocks better over ETF for long term? Like if you're saying, like just buy some, so is buying ETFs good? Like if I like to buy like bank ETFs.
Suvash, I'm in India. I do not, my friends talk about mutual funds and ETFs. I don't touch mutual funds and ETFs at all because who's going to be trading those products? You'll have management graduates who are learning on your money. So instead of doing an SIP with an ETF, you do an SIP directly on dedicated few stocks, be it 4, 5, 6 stocks. That's it. Don't keep a portfolio of 30 stocks or 40 stocks. 5 or 6 stocks is enough to build up a wealth, which you can monitor every month or once a week. Don't even have to sit on the stock market every day. Identify 5 or 6 shares which you are using on a daily basis, which you know will go on for a longer time, and just keep investing in a fixed number of shares on a fixed date, irrespective of the price. By the time you are completing a 20 years of stay in Canada or in US, your portfolio would have gone up by about 20-25 times comfortably of the amount you have invested. You will be over 25 times of that amount without counting dividends and splits and bonuses.
Hey guys, I'm Gaurav.
Hi, Gaurav.
I sent a message in the group today asking regarding, like I'm pretty new at this, never done any investments, so thought would be good to learn.
Sure. Yeah, we would definitely try to help as much as we can.
Any suggestion from you guys? Like I have some money in RRSP and something low risk that I can start with.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't need that money for next 2 years, and I don't know what to do. Like RRSP, except GIC, that's the only thing that I found was low risk. But apart from that, if you guys have any other suggestions.
Keeping the funds in RRSP or GIC without investing in any of these instruments like stocks is what I have observed here in Canada. The interest rates are quite low.
Mhm.
So if you keep for a duration of 2 years with that fund, you might not see much appreciation with the interest rates that are offered. Now, I don't know in which bank you have your RRSP account and how much interest rate they are offering.
Not much. It's negligible.
Right. And that's the case with most of the banks. And that's the reason I usually encourage people to invest in stocks. Maybe I have affection towards the stock market based on what I have seen in my accounts. At the same time, it's riskier. If you are looking for some zero risk, then definitely stocks are having appreciation, but it comes with risk. So if you are okay to take little risk, then definitely stock market can give you a better return over the period of 2 years. But if you're looking for zero risk, then maybe a bank which offers a better interest rate would be the first place to start. And maybe members on the call, if they have some other alternative instruments which they feel could give better return with zero risk, please feel free to suggest.
So like what are your thoughts on, like, if I get some stocks like of a RBC bank or some renowned banks which we know like are, which may not give much return, but the risk is also like minimal. What are your thoughts on that? Is it better than GIC or no?
In my view, those are better for two reasons. One is the dividends that they give. If you have in higher quantity, the dividends returns might be greater than the interest that you might get. And secondly, since from past 3 weeks the stock market has been down, and if you manage to get at low prices, the growth that you might get on the stocks over a period of 1 year to 2 years would add to your returns that you would have. So in my view, I think of investing or using funds in such accounts. I prefer to tend to invest in stocks, as I feel I have control whether I want to continue with those stocks, or if I would like to exit. I have better control in what returns I would be expecting. When you are talking about RRSP, obviously you are thinking of long positions. So the dividend paying growth stocks would be the best way to start.
No, it's not for long actually. Like I'm planning to buy a house for myself and my wife in 2 years. So that money would just like sit there for that time. I don't have any use of that, and I can't take that out as well. But it won't be like more than 2 years though. So not a long term thing. So I thought that I should go for GSE. That's the safest path so far. But then I thought that you guys like know much better than I, right? So thought I'd ask in the group, and then luckily you guys had a meeting plan, so I thought why not join that.
Gaurav, it's Mohit. See, you can also try. I'm not sure which bank you bank with right now, but if you have a horizon of 2 years or more, you can ask them to have a market link GIC. Not sure if they provide 2 years one, because usually it's 3 years or more. But if any of the banks where you are banking right now is providing market link GIC wherein principal is protected, you can try that as well, just in case.
Market link GIC. I'm with
Market
RBC.
link, yeah, you can ask them. I'm not sure with RBC. I'm with Scotiabank, so not really sure.
How is, if you don't mind me asking, how is market link GIC different from regular GICs?
So market link GICs, they invest in I would say in a layman term blue chip stocks, right? But wherein when the principal is protected, they have certain calculations. I'm not sure how to tell you in over the phone. They have a calculation wherein up to a percentage, either you get a interest rate, or in a worst scenario you get, or in a best come scenario you get the returns of the stocks, right? So worst scenario you won't lose the principal. Best scenario is you get returns of the stock that the stocks have earned.
Oh, okay.
I hope I was able to give you some sort of an idea.
Thanks a lot, man. Much appreciated. I'll read about it more so that I don't have
market link GICs with wherein. So there are different types of market link GICs. You can try. You have, based on your scenario, if you are planning to take out as a first time home buyer, then you should go for the only one which is principal protected.
Principal protected, okay.
Right, but the only catch is I'm not sure if your bank provides 2-year market link GIC or not. If not, you can also try with the competitive market. There are different. Not sure where your RRSP. Oh yeah, you can't take that out. Yeah, those are the only option. Otherwise, what Kamal has said very well, that even the dividend paying stocks, there are so many stocks that aren't that volatile. I'll just take an example, okay? Now, don't go by what I'm suggesting. Vivek sir and Kamal is are more genius in that. Say REIT, any REIT stock you buy HR.UN, right? Regardless of how HR.UN is doing, it will pay you every month dividend. And then on top of that, it's pretty stable. It's not that volatile. Kamal should be able to give more highlights on this. What do you say, Kamal?
Absolutely. Thanks, Mohit, for both of your points. And talking about rates, giving monthly dividends, that is certainly a very good option, wherein you can see people get into rates, take dividend and get out. Those are people who are doing for short term. But for someone like you who is looking at horizon for 2 years, you could look through the rates which are down now, buy it and hold it for 1 to 2 years period, whatever duration you are looking at to hold. These rates give monthly dividend, and along with that, since they are down, once they grow, even that adds to your profit. So definitely a good option to look at. And the first thing which Mohit mentioned, even I'm not aware, but certainly a good suggestion which you could explore.
No, I will, guys.
Thanks,
I got like caught off guard here. I just like sent a message, and you guys are pros, right? So I don't know much. So I'm just jotting down everything that you're saying. I'll read on that for a day or two, and then I'll start bugging you guys one on one if I have any questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please feel free to ask in the group itself, as different members have different backgrounds, and based on that, they are able to share something which I might not be knowing, like what Mohit shared. So this group can help you in getting to the right thing which you could invest.
Kamal, I have a different perspective here. Like, rather than waiting for 2 years and buying a house, it is always better to jump in the housing market immediately. Yeah, I don't know his scenario, whether he is having a PR or not.
I
Yeah.
am.
So if he is having a PR, I would rather suggest don't wait for 2 years, because in 2 years the housing market prices are going to increase, and whatever amount that you will be getting in gains, okay, that would be going in your down payment. So overall, the amount that you are going to make wouldn't make a lot of difference for you. So if you're planning to buy a house after 2 years, I would rather suggest, if you have the down payment, start looking right now, because earlier you get into the housing market, it is better.
Yeah, I want to do that, Vivek. I really want to, but the thing is, I live in GTA and I do have like some amount, but it's not as much as we need to get something decent
So
in GTA.
just another thought here. So if you don't, again, couple of my friends did this as well, but they did it after they had their primary house. So what you can do is book your money under a under construction project. That will give you probably more benefits 2 years down the line. Either you can decide to go for it, and I'm talking about a condo project in downtown, right, where you have to say, let's say, pay just the 5% initially, but your property will kind of appreciate over time, and after 2 years, maybe if you put 50,000, you might be able to get 75,000 out of it. Just a thought.
Just to add, Gaurav, not trying to confuse you, Mohit again. People who do not have, not necessarily everyone would have a certain amount of down payment. You can always speak with your bank, with RBC. You can always get RRSP loan. Okay, not sure how much of RSP is available. The room is available under you, or if you're married, under your spouse.
Yeah.
Combined together, you can always add that, and you can get RSP loan, which you can put it into RSP and still get tax credit out of it.
Oh,
And then you can use that. Within that, once you get that loan, after that, after 90 days, you can take out whenever you want. If you say, hypothetically, I'm saying, so you have 50,000 saved right now. You want to put 100,000 as a down payment. You can go talk to your bank, RBC, and you can get RSP loan. You can take that depending on how much you and your spouse, if you're married, have room available. You can take that, put it into your RSP. You can also claim it. Okay, you get tax credit out of it. And then after 90 days, you can take out whenever you want. Maybe after 2 months, 3 months, 6 months down the road, now you have 100,000. You're better prepared. If you not have too much of debt, it will in line with your ratios, and then you should be able to get into the market. As the other member just said, if it's always the best time, early the better, sooner the better is how the other person said. It's very true. So this way, the RSP loan can certainly help you to get in the market faster.
So let's say I'll take your example for that. Let's say I get 50,000 loan, right? And now I got 100,000 as my down payment ready whenever I need to buy a house, right? So 3 months down the lane, I find a nice house. I go for that. Now that the 50,000 that I took, that would again add to my liabilities, right? So
that's correct. But if you don't have, certainly if you are new to the country, if you don't have big loans on your head as of now, if you don't have big car loan payments, this should be fine, because the RSP loan is amortized depending on your bank. It is amortized from 5 years to 6 to 7 years to 8 years, depending on that. So the monthly obligation would not come as high as what you think of. Would be $200 or so.
Sorry, no, I think I was not able to explain myself there. No, I'm not talking about the monthly obligation. I'm thinking that, but no, again, if I have 100,000 in down payment, I would again get the loan anywhere. Like my mortgage loan will be approved anyhow because I have.
Yeah, you will have better down payment. And I know you asked, right? I get your point. It will add up to your ratios, but what I'm trying to explain, if you're new to the country, not many years yet, I'm sure if you don't have too much of debt, your ratios should be in line. So that shouldn't be a concern.
Okay.
Is what I'm trying to help you understand.
Okay. Thanks. I'll look into
because the loan, RSP loan, is amortized for at least 7 years, 8 years, 10 years, something. You can choose that. This way, the monthly payment will come low. So when the monthly payments are low, it does not affect much to the ratios.
Gaurav, I'll suggest talk to a realtor or a mortgage agent. They would give you all the ways out and suggest you how can you make that down payment that you require now.
Okay, we'll do that. Thanks, Vivek.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, I'll share my screen. As Imran has requested for dividend stocks. So on marketchameleon.com, I was saying that on marketchameleon.com, we have dividends tab. Under that, in rates, can see the list. And I was talking about the frequency. So some of the rates pay quarterly, some pay monthly. And choose the one which has good yield as well as frequency. If at monthly frequency they are giving better yield, you can shortlist those. Also, if you are investing only in Canadian stocks, then choose which are the ones which are specific to Canadian residential investments or corporate investments. Because of COVID, corporate residential rates, they had considerable loss last year. They were impacted highly. Same applies with US as well. So you might find the prices of those rates have fallen down considerably and have potential for growth. At the same time, they are continuing to give dividends as well. Only some of them have stopped or reduced their dividends, but many of them you will still find that they are giving dividends. So it could be a good option for you to choose for your RRSP investments. And there is another site, dividend.com. Though this site mostly gives stock for US and they hide some of the stuff. So you can have a look over here, and then based on their yield, you can use either our yahoofinance.com or tradingview.com to see the financial details of the stock. Whether if I give an example, like let's say Apple, so you can see the forward dividend and yield and dividend date. So similarly, for other stocks that you find from either of these websites, you can check the details, not only just their dividends, but also look for their analysis if you are able to do, or other details like the company's financial and the analyst ratings and all. So these might help you to take your decision more comfortably whether you would like to invest or not. So for most of the stocks there are on Yahoo Finance, you will find this kind of analyst ratings. Similarly, even on TradingView, on the right hand side, you can find this similar kind of information. And for naming some of the stocks which you could consider for investing, not only you but for other members as well, maybe I'll see if I can share few stocks which maybe I'll post in the group later after the session. Not today, maybe tomorrow, which can be considered for holding for a period of over 6 months to 1 year, 2 year as dividend stocks. In you can choose which type of account you want to use for investing, either RRSP, TFSA, or any other accounts that you have. Is that fine?
Yes, Kamal. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. We are under 2 minutes. Vivek had asked about how to set up screeners. Maybe we can include that in the next session. Vivek, will that be okay?
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
Vivek, check out my screener video which we done way back in, I think, August.
Yeah, maybe I can share.
If Kamal can find that video out.
Problem is the way you have said this overview, performance, extended hours, valuation. These tabs I'm not able to set.
The one which I had picked up.
Yeah, this one is under screeners.
Yeah.
These are default. It's there on TradingView.
Okay. No, sorry, not those. These last percentage change, rating, volume, market cap.
Mhm.
So these I'm not. I'm struggling with those.
Under overview or under performance?
I don't know where you do. You see 1 month % change, 5 month % change. These.
Yes. Yeah. So if you are not
Okay.
looking at those, you could untick them and they will be gone.
Okay.
Because
got it.
you are evaluating on daily basis, so these are two means these are applicable for someone who is doing day trade, so you can remove those.
Okay. Got it. Okay, it's there.
Okay.
Okay, sure. Okay, thanks a lot. And do share the link that sir was talking about the video.
Sure. I'll share. Thank you all. Thank you for joining this session. Hope it was beneficial, and hope you all have nice weekend and good trading week ahead. Thank you, Vivek sir.
Thank you, Kamal. Thank you, everybody.